Hey everyone, welcome back to Breaking Down Nursing. Today's session we're going to focus on med math conversion style. It's a fundamental skill that every nurse must master, especially when you're calculating oral doses, IV drips, or safe pediatric ranges. Accuracy can save lives. So let's break it down step by step. How do we do these conversions? As y'all know, in medicine we love our abbreviations, and med math is no exception. Make sure to put this list of abbreviations to memory. So y'all remember back in grade school when your teacher said, you'll need to know this in the future, and all of us, as soon as we'd left that grade, washed it from our brain? Well, the metric conversions are coming back to haunt us. So let's review some common metric conversions that we use every day in healthcare. These are essential for accurate medication administration and fluid calculations. Let's start with weight. 1 milligram, or 1 mg, equals 1,000 micrograms, or mcg. 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. Then also remember that 1 gram equals 2.2 pounds. So I know in the United States we use pounds as our scale that we measure everybody on every day. But remember, in healthcare, we always convert and use a metric system. Next, let's look at some volume and liquid measurements. So these are some of the common ones you'll need to know, although this is not a complete list of all the metric conversions that you'll need to know and memorize for med math. So 1 ounce equals 30 mLs. 1 milliliter is the same as 1 cc, or cubic centimeter. These terms are often used interchangeably, and you'll see these on your med math test. 1 liter also equals 1,000 milliliters. 1 teaspoon, 5 mLs. 1 tablespoon equals 15 mLs. And then 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So tip to remember, there is an easier way to go back and forth between metric conversions instead of having to memorize all these conversions by each one. So there is a helpful mnemonic to remember the order of the metric prefixes, which is especially useful when converting between units. The phrase that we always like to go by is, King Henry died drinking chocolate milk. Each word represents a prefix in the metric system, and I'll show you how to convert back and forth between all these. Okay, so how do we put King Henry, the mnemonic, to use to convert back and forth between grams, liters, and meters? So King Henry really stands for, K stands for kilo, H stands for hecto, D stands for deca, the second D in drinking stands for deci, and the C stands for centi, and last but not least, M stands for milli. In the middle of all these is our underlying base, which is where we put our grams, liters, and meters. Now remember, this doesn't work for all conversions, it only works for the 3 of these. So looking at our units of measure, our largest unit is our kilo. So whether that's kilogram, kilometer, kiloliter, smallest unit is at the bottom, milli. And again, milliliter, milligram. Each step in the metric system is based on a factor of 10. So moving down the chart from the larger unit like kilo to a smaller unit like milli, you multiply by 10 for each individual step. Now on the flip side, if you're moving up the chart, from smaller units to larger units, you divide by 10 for each step. Okay, great. So that's a whole lot of words and a whole lot of information. So how do we really put this into practice? Let's do a practice problem. Let's walk through how to convert 2 grams into milligrams, step by step. We start with what we know. So we'll put our 2 grams in a multiplication, and then we'll draw a line for our conversions. Now we know to cancel out the grams, we have to put grams on the bottom. Milligrams will go on the top. Now this is a pro tip, especially when you're new in med math, because this gets a lot of students confused, is put your units of measure first, and then go back and fill in your numbers. Most people commonly flip the numbers around, and so they'll put the 1,000 or 1 in the incorrect spots. Okay, so how do we know how many milligrams are in a gram? So let's go back to our King Henry. Starting at our base, because we're starting at grams, we're going to move over to milligrams. Well, that's 3 steps. And remember, each step is a multiple of 10. So from base to deci is 10, From deci to century is another multiple of 10, so 10 times 10 is 100. And then centi to milli is another multiple of 10, which makes it 1,000. So from going from grams to milligrams, it's 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. So we'll plug in our 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram. When we do the math, we multiply our 2 times 1,000 and divide by 1. So 2 grams times 1,000 milligrams divided by 1 gram equals 2,000 milligrams. Okay, so how's it work going the other way? So if we're converting from a smaller unit measure to a larger unit measure, we'll still use the same process. So let's convert 4,500 milliliters into liters. We'll set up the same way. We'll take what we know, which is the 4,500 mLs, and then we'll multiply it. So we'll just first add the units, and then we'll go back and figure out our numbers to plug in. Well, we know we're starting from milli, and we're headed towards our base, because liter is a base, just like grams and meters. So going from meter to centi is 10. From centi to deci is another multiple of 10, so 10 times 10 is 100. From deci to base, 10 times 100 is 1,000. So we know that we have 1,000 milliliters, which is the smaller unit, times 1 liter. After we plug those in, we'll have 4,500 times 1 liter divided by 1,000 milliliters. So 4,500 mLs really equals 4.5 liters. This wraps up our micro lesson on metric conversions. I hope you feel more confident in navigating these essential nursing calculations. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe so you can stay updated on future videos. Thank you for watching.